Так, все подключили, да? Можно начинать? Так. Сегодня мы начинаем очередное заседание диссертационного совета в офлайн и онлайн режиме на платформе MS Teams в соответствии с постановлением о внесении дополнений и изменений в приказы номер 29 от 10 января 2024 года и номер приказа 1263 от 7 июня 2024 года о создании диссертационного совета и утверждении его состава со статьей 43.1 Закона Республики Казахстан от 27 июля 2007 года об образовании с пунктом 11 об утверждении типового положения о диссертационном совете, утвержденного приказом министра образования и науки Республики Казахстан за номером 126 от 31 марта 2011 года с пунктом 3 правил присуждения степеней, утвержденных приказом министра образования и науки Республики Казахстан номер 127 от 31 марта 2011 года, пунктом 4 положения о диссертационном совете Евразийского национального университета имени Гумилева, утвержденного 29 августа 2024 года, решением диссертационного совета ЕНУ имени Гумилева были утверждены 4 ученых, постоянные члены диссертационного совета. Председатель диссертационного совета Ездовлетова Ардак Мельсовна, доктор исторических наук, профессор кафедры международных отношений ЕНУ имени Гумилева, заместитель председателя диссертационного совета Кокенова Галина Мажитовна, доктор исторических наук, профессор кафедры международных отношений ЕНУ имени Гумилева, ученый-секретарь диссертационного совета Алиева Сауле Каменовна, кандидат исторических наук, ассоциированный профессор кафедры международных отношений, постоянный член диссертационного совета Медиубаева Жанар Муратбекова, кандидат исторических наук, профессор кафедры международных отношений имени Гумилева. Временные члены диссертационного совета – это ученые, научные исследования которых связаны с проблематикой европейской идентичности. Величков Камен, доктор философии, PhD, профессор Софийского университета имени святого Климента Охридского, специальность 070015, история международных отношений и внешняя политика, город София, Болгария. Шарьезданова Камила Галимовна, доктор философии, PhD, ассоциированный профессор, профессор Института дипломатии, исполняющий обязанности заместителя директора, специальность 6D050200, политология, город Астана, Республика Казахстан. Кабазиев Манарбек Шакирович, доктор философии, PhD, заместитель председателя правления Института исследований внешней политики при Министерстве иностранных дел Республики Казахстан. Специальность 8D031 социальные науки, город Астана, Республика Казахстан. Серикбаева Айжан Тимирбулатовна, доктор философии, PhD, ассоциированный профессор кафедры философии и социальные науки, НАО Торыгеров университет, специальность 0D050500, регионоведение, город Павлодар, Республика Казахстан. Байкушикова Гульнара Серикбаевна, доктор философии, PhD, заведующая кафедрой международных отношений и мировой экономики, исполняющая обязанности доцента факультета международных отношений Казахского национального университета имени Аль-Фараби, специальность 6D020200, международные отношения, город Алматы, Республика Казахстан. Таким образом, утвержденный состав совета 4 человека, временные члены диссертационного совета 3 человека и официальные рецензенты 2 человека. На заседании присутствует 9 членов совета. Необходимый кворум имеется. Разрешите начать заседание диссертационного совета. Итак, сегодня на повестке дня защита диссертационного исследования Аспандияр Саиды Булатовны на тему European Identity, the Future Developments по специальности 08D03-102 международные отношения. Научные консультанты Нурдаулетова Сания Маряковна, кандидат исторических наук, исполняющий обязанности профессора кафедры международных отношений Евразийского национального университета имени Гумилева, город Астана, Республика Казахстан. Зарубежный профессор Антонио Алонсо Маркос, доктор философии PhD, профессор университета Сан-Пабло, Мадрид, Испания. Здесь он, да? Приветствуем. Да. Так. Официальные рецензенты: Серикбаева Айжан Тимир Булатовна и Байкушикова Гульнара Серикбаевна. Я думаю, не нужно зачитывать полностью весь регламент, да? Регламент заседания диссертационного совета. Думаю, в принципе, все уже знают, известно, да? Поэтому сразу мы переходим к самой процедуре защиты. Итак, слово для информации о личном деле диссертанта и соответствии предоставленных документов установленным требованиям предоставляется ученому секретарю, кандидату исторических наук, ассоциированному профессору кафедры международных отношений ЕНУ имени Гумилева Алиевой Сауле Каменовне.
Спасибо большое. Сәлеметсіздер, құрметті диссертация кеңесінің мүшелері. Позвольте мне зачитать данные из личного дела соискателя. Аспандияр Саида Булатовна родилась 28 мая 1998 года в городе Актобе Актюбинской области. В 2015 году окончила среднюю школу и поступила в Казахский национальный университет имени Аль-Фараби по специальности международные отношения, которую успешно окончила в 2019 году с присуждением степени бакалавра. В период обучения по программе бакалавриата являлась обладателем европейской стипендии Erasmus Mundus и проходила обучение в Марбургском университете имени Филиппа, Германия. В 2019 году поступила в магистратуру Евразийского национального университета имени Гумилева по специальности международные отношения, которую успешно окончила в 2021 году. В 2021 году поступила в докторантуру Евразийского национального университета имени Гумилева по образовательной программе 8D03102 «Международные отношения». В 2024 году успешно завершила обучение в докторантуре. В ходе обучения в докторантуре прошла зарубежную научную стажировку в университете Сан-Пабло, Испания, где проводила научно-исследовательскую работу по теме диссертационного исследования. Также в период обучения в докторантуре принимала участие в реализации научно-исследовательского проекта на тему исследования внешней политики Республики Казахстан в контексте изменяющихся геополитических условий. В настоящее время осуществляет профессиональную деятельность компании Абрис Distribution Казахстан. Основные результаты диссертационного исследования представлены в 8 печатных работах, 4 из которых рецензируемых в научных журналах и изданиях, рекомендован Комитетом по обеспечению качества в сфере науки и высшего образования МНВО РК, одна в зарубежных научных изданиях, одна в изданиях, индексируемых в базе Scopus, 2 в сборниках конференций. Диссертация представлена в защите впервые. Все необходимые документы для прохождения процедуры защиты соискателям предоставлены.
Какие будут вопросы к ученому секретарю? Итак, вопросов нету. Слово для доклада по основному содержанию диссертации предоставляется соискателю степени философии PhD Аспандияр Саиде Булатовне. Так, регламент у вас 15 минут.
Dear Chairperson, respected members of the Dissertation Council, official reviewers, colleagues, I am Saida Aspandияр, PhD doctorate in International Relations. And today I am honored to represent the results of my dissertation paper, European Identity, the Future Developments. This research examines the transformation of European identity under the current of influence of political, social, cultural, and technological changes in contemporary Europe. The relevance of the research is determined by the growing importance of identity issues in the contemporary European integration process. In recent years, Europe has faced multiple challenges, including Brexit, migration crisis, the rise of nationalism, shared nationalism, Euroscepticism, geopolitical instability, and digital transformation. Also, these developments have intensified debates regarding European solidarity, shared values, democratic legitimacy, and the future of European project. As a result, European identity today functions not only as a cultural concept, but mostly a strategic and political factor of European cohesion. The goal of the object of the research is a phenomenon of European identity as a multi-dimensional construct encompassing cultural, political, and social aspects within the European Union and its members. The subject of the research is the mechanisms, tools, instruments, and perspectives through which the European Union promotes and strengthens a shared European identity. The goal of the research is to analyze the evolution, current challenges, and future perspective of European identity formation within the European Union. According with the goal, there are several tasks were set. The key of them: to examine the theoretical foundations of European identity, to analyze the relationship between European integration and identity formation, to identify the core European values underlying European identity, to trace the historical evolution of European identity, to analyze and to assess the impact of European enlargement and on its cultural diversity, and to investigate contemporary challenges including Brexit, migration crisis, nationalism, and etc., and to develop possible future scenarios for the evolution of European identity. The structure of the research. The dissertation paper consists of introduction and 4 main chapters. Entitled, the first chapter is theoretical and conceptual foundations, the second chapter, historical context and evolution, third chapter, contemporary challenges, and the fourth chapter observes the future perspective of European identity formation, conclusion and references. The methodological framework of the research is interdisciplinary and combines approaches from political science, sociology, cultural studies, European integration theory. Also, my study is based primarily on constructivist theory, which views identity as socially constructed and dynamic phenomenon. This research also employed and combined comparative analysis, historical analysis, discourse analysis, case study analysis, and the most important, scenario analysis. Particular attention is given to the last method due to its identification of possible scenarios and future trajectories of European identity development. The source base. The source base also includes the research of official European Union treaties and official documents, European Commission reports, European and Eurobarometer reports, academic literature in political science and European studies, policy papers and analytical reports, and as well as media and digital communication materials reflecting public discourse on European identity. The main hypotheses and provisions for the defense. The central hypothesis of the research is that European identity is not being destroyed by contemporary political and social and cultural crises, but it becomes stronger due to these challenges. Also, the dissertation assumes that the future sustainability of European identity depends on its ability to balance between unity and diversity, supranational integration and national identity, as well as tradition and innovation. The main provisions for the defense. The research defends the following provisions. The first, European identity is a multidimensional and dynamic construct. Second, its evolution has been shaped by political integration and cultural exchange, both of them. Contemporary crises function as catalysts for European identity transformation rather than disintegration. The fourth, European youth, education and digital communication are seen as key transformative agents. And the fifth, sustainable European identity in the 21st century requires flexibility, inclusiveness, and diversity and adaptability. The scientific novelty. The scientific novelty lies in several aspects. The first, the research develops a multidimensional framework for understanding European identity under conditions of globalization and digital transformation. Second, the study reinterprets contemporary crises as mechanisms of identity adaptation and renewal rather than purely destabilizing factors. Third, the dissertation also emphasized the role of youth, education, and digital communication in shaping the European identity. And finally, the research develops scenario-based models for forecasting and future trajectories of European identity development. Main results. Main results. Chapter 1. The first chapter mainly focused on theoretical and conceptual foundation of European identity. The analysis demonstrated the European identity should not be understood as a replacement of national identity. It is seen mostly as multidimensional and dynamic form of belonging that develops through political integration, cultural interaction, shared values, and institutional practices. Also, the chapter shows that constructivist and post-functional approaches provide the most effective framework for understanding and the evolving and contested nature of European identity in the 21st century. Identity is seen as dynamic, multi-layered, and constructed. The second chapter. Examines the historical evolution of European identity. The research demonstrated that European identity developed gradually through several historical stages. Classical antiquity, Christian Europe, Renaissance and Enlightenment, and modern European integration. A key conclusion of this chapter is that the European Union transformed European identity from a primarily cultural project and philosophical idea to institutional and political project. At the same time, the European enlargement and cultural diversity demonstrated that European identity evolves through negotiations, inclusion, and adaptation. European identity evolved historically and became institutionalized through the European Union. Chapter 3. The third chapter also analyzed contemporary challenges to European identity, including migration, nationalism, Euroscepticism, Brexit, populism, global crisis. Here, this chapter mainly demonstrated that these developments have intensified tensions between national sovereignty and supranational integration. However, one of the central conclusions of the dissertation is that these crises do not necessarily lead to the collapse of European identity. On the contrary, they functioned as catalysts for transformation, adaptation, and redefinition of European values and solidarity. The research also demonstrated that digital media and populist discourse increasingly influenced public perception of Europe and European Union and its identity formation. Crisis reshape Europeanness. The chapter 4, future perspectives. The first chapter focused mainly on future perspectives of European identity. Particular attention was given to youth, education, digital communication, sustainability, and globalization. The research demonstrated that younger generation shows stronger attachment to European identity due to digital connectivity, educational mobility, and transformational communication. Based on scenario analysis, the dissertation proposed 3 possible future trajectories: integration, fragmentation and hybridization. And here it is seen that the hybridization scenario is seen the most sustainable, allowing the coexistence of national, regional, and supranational identity within a flexible and inclusive European framework. The future of Europe is hybrid, flexible, and adaptive. In conclusion, the dissertation demonstrates that European identity remains a multidimensional and evolving phenomenon. Also, it is seen that the central hypothesis confirmed that contemporary political, social, cultural challenges do not necessarily lead to the destruction of European identity, but these processes such as globalization, migration, Brexit, digital transformation, and geopolitical instability contribute to its transformation and reconfiguration into a more flexible and hybrid form of collective belonging. Also, our study showed that European Union today develops through the interaction of political integration, cultural diversity, shared democratic values, and digital communication. One of the key conclusions of the dissertation is that the most sustainable future trajectory for Europe is a hybridization scenario, which allows the coexistence of national, regional, and supranational identity within an inclusive European framework. Also, the future sustainability of the European project depends on the ability of Europe to maintain balance between unity and diversity, integration and sovereignty, tradition and innovation. The research supports that the idea that European identity in the 21st century will be shaped not by uniformity, but by adaptability, dialogue, and inclusiveness. Thank you for your attention.
So thank you, Saida. So your report finished, right? So please, and now questions. Questions from the participants of today's meeting. Вопросы, пожалуйста. Questions. Yes. So please, Kamen Velichkov, have you any questions to Saida?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the so brief and concise presentation of dissertation work that is so voluminous and has invested. You have invested a tremendous amount of work in its creation, which in itself is very impressive. Questions that arise probably would be most adequate for the hybrid model that you end up with concluding to be the immediate and more distant future of the European identity. My question would be, do you see any prospect for evolution of this model? In other words, is it in itself a situation which is designed to polarize one way or the other? You have described both integration and fragmentation as a possible coordinates, or it is, in fact, a part of the very nature of the phenomenon that you discuss in your paper.
Thank you very much, Kamen Velichkov. Other questions, please? Yes, Жанар Muratbekovna.
Saida, you said that we developed hypotheses about the further strengthening of European identity in the context of risks, challenges in today's situation in Europe, in the European continent. And summing up this process, we said that these processes don't weaken European identity, but on contrary, they strengthened they reshaped European identity, then in how do these challenges or their risks for Europeans, and maybe their strengths and their today's manifestations demonstrate themselves in today's reality. And shortly, prove please your hypothesis. Is it clear?
Yes,
And,
it is clear.
Second question, what do you think? Maybe hybrid identity, is there not, chance or possibility for future perspectives of European identity, but in most cases, risk and challenges and harmful trend for Europeans, for their identities?
Saida, I have some question. The first question is tied close to your dissertation in the context of novelty. What is the novelty, concrete novelty of your dissertation, and how you mark your contribution to native political science? Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question, I think that my question is connected with the question of Zhanara Muratbekovna. Please, concrete contemporary challenges to European identity in the conditions of contemporary hybrid warfare. That's all. Thank you.
Yes.
I've got two questions. The first one, why do you consider hybridization the most sustainable model? And the second one, how does digitalization influence European identity?
Well, Manarbek Shakirovich, do you have a question? Two questions, yes. No?
Are you ready?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. And my mind, it's with dissertations very actually. And so in the context of increasing geopolitical turbulence and some rise of nationalism, migration crisis, and the transformation of the global order, the problem and the formation, has become one of key issues of international relations. And I have two questions. Which elements of European identity policy could be applicable to the countries of Central Asia? And how can Kazakhstan use European Union experience in shaping its own civil identity? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe our guest, Pierre Chaval, if you have questions. The topic is very interesting.
So it's a good approach in the epistemology of identity. And from the start, the candidate suggests that identity is a much broader topic than politics. It has to do with values, it has to do with the roots of identity that go back to antiquity. But my question would be, is the key topic of your dissertation the substance of identity, which is complex, or, which I think, your key topic is the role of identity? What is identity useful for? And I think that even if it is a question of being beyond politics, fundamentally speaking, identity is an issue to do with mobilization, the capacity of the region makers, the decision makers, the heads of state or the Commission of the European Union, to mobilize citizens in favor of the construction. So I think from the political science point of view, identity is essentially an issue, the essence of identity is a need to mobilize, a need for mobilization. Spasiba.
Okay, thank you for your questions. And now I give floor to Samia Maryakovna as the advisor.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги, уважаемые присутствующие, гости. Вашему вниманию было представлено диссертационное исследование Аспандияр Саиды, тема, над которой она работала на протяжении более 3 лет, пока она обучалась в докторантуре. Ранее в магистратуре мы с ней начинали рассматривать языковую политику Европейского Союза и затем решили уже сосредоточиться вот как раз-таки на вопросе идентичности, европейской идентичности. Позвольте мне зачитать отзыв научного руководителя на английском языке в связи с тем, что диссертация и защита проходят на английском языке. So, the dissertation work of Aspandияр Саида Булатовны represents a comprehensive, logically structured and theoretically grounded study of one of the key issues in modern European political studies, the nature, evolution and future prospects of European identity. And as it was mentioned before, the work consists of the main 4 chapters. The first chapter is devoted to theoretical and conceptual foundations of European identity. The author provides a detailed examination of the theoretical approach to concept of identity in social and political sciences, drawing on the works of leading researchers, the analysis of European integration theories such as functionalism, neo-functionalism, constructivism, allows for a deeper understanding of the relationship between political unification and the formation of supranational identity. Also, the first chapter devoted to European values, democracy, human rights, tolerance, solidarity, which is characterized by sound argumentation and academic precision. The distinctions between national and supranational identity are successfully revealed, as well as their interaction within the framework of the European Union. The second chapter, Historical Context and Evolution of European Identity, demonstrates a solid understanding of the historical prerequisites for the formation of European identity, from ancient and Christian heritage to the ideas of the Enlightenment. Saida tried to examine the process of establishing the European Union and the idea of a united Europe, emphasizing the institutionalization of European identity through EU symbols, legal acts, different types of programs. The author also highlights the impact of the EU enlargement processes, which have strengthened cultural diversity while creating new challenges for European identity. The third chapter, Contemporary Challenges to European Identity, is one of the most analytical, strong parts of the work. The author examines the influence of migration, multiculturalism, social contradictions on the perception of European identity. Particular attention is paid to the rise of nationalism, Euroscepticism, illustrated by examples from the political practices of EU member states. This chapter, this section on Brexit deserves special attention as it demonstrates the author's ability to critically assess the consequences of this event for European self-understanding. The concluding part of the chapter devoted to global crisis shows how external shocks affect the rethinking of the meaning and content of European identity. And in the final part of the work, the author explores the role of education, digital media in shaping the identity in the future. The attempt to connect traditional European values such as democracy, human rights, sustainable development with new social trends is noteworthy. Of particular interest in the analysis of Europe's place in a multipolar world and the projection of possible development scenarios from deeper integration to the formation of a hybrid identity. The work is written in a clear and accessible language, and the structure fully meets academic requirements. The conclusions and proposals presented in the thesis are well-founded and logically derived from the analyzed material. Based on the conducted analysis, it can be concluded that the paper represents a high-quality and comprehensive study of an important topic. The author has demonstrated strong analytical abilities, competence in the field of international relations, and the capacity to work effectively with a wide range of sources. The conclusions and recommendations correspond to the stated goals and objectives, possess scientific validity and practical significance. The work fully meets the requirements for research of this type and is recommended for defense by me as a scientific supervisor. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sania Maryakovna. And now I give floor to the foreign advisor, professor of the University of San Pablo, Antonio Alonso Marcos. Antonio, okay. Just a minute. Antonio Alonso Marcos, University San Pablo from Spain. Может быть, зачитаете? Okay, so Sania Maryakovna just read his reviewing.
Review on European Identity, the Future Developments by Aspandияр Саида Булатовна, by Antonio Alonso Marcos, PhD, University CU San Pablo. The dissertation European Identity, the Future Developments constitutes a substantial and ambitious scholarly work that addresses on one of the most complex and pressing issues in contemporary political science and European studies, the construction, evolution, and future trajectory of European identity. The candidate demonstrates that he is able to deal with different fields of knowledge as the topic is interconnected with political science, international relations, and culture, alongside with both theoretical and empirical dimensions of identity formation within the European Union. It is distinguished by its conceptual rigor, interdisciplinary synthesis, and policy relevance, and it contributes meaningfully to academic and political debates about the role of shared identity in sustaining European integration under conditions of globalization and crisis. The author's decision to frame European identity as a multidimensional construct encompassing political, social, cultural, and normative dimensions is both theoretically sophisticated and empirically justified. The dissertation not only serves classical and contemporary theories of identity, but also applies them to the specific context of the EU illuminating how institutions, values, and socio-political practices interact to create a shared sense of Europeanness. One of the dissertation's most impressive achievements lies in its strong theoretical foundation. The author engaged with a wide range of intellectual traditions: constructivism, social identity theory, neo-functionalism, liberal intergovernmentalism, post-functionalism, and globalization theory, and integrates them into a coherent analytical framework. Methodologically, the dissertation exhibits clarity and adaptability. It employs an interdisciplinary research design that combines qualitative and analytical approach, drawing from political science, social science, and cultural studies. The source base of the dissertation is exceptionally comprehensive. It includes official EU treaties, charters, and policy frameworks, scholarly literature spanning several disciplines, survey data, and media sources. The author demonstrates academic diligence in complying and organizing these materials, showing familiarity with both classical and cutting-edge research. The dissertation structure enhanced its readability and the logical progression. Each chapter builds upon the previous one, creating a coherent narrative that moves from theoretical foundations to historical evolution, contemporary challenges, and future perspectives. The originality of European identity and the future development is evident in its holistic and future-oriented conceptualization of European identity. Equally original is the dissertation's geopolitical conceptualization, linking the evolution of European identity to Kazakhstan's strategic interests. The study's emphasis on education as drivers of identity renewal further reinforces its originality. Summing up, this dissertation merits high academic distinction. It is suitable for defense and suitable for publication in revised form as a scholarly monograph or as a series of peer-reviewed articles. Its interdisciplinary scope, conceptual originality, and practical relevance make it an important contribution to contemporary European studies and to the broader discourse on identity and integration in global politics. Antonio Alonso Marcos, PhD, full professor of political science and public administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Sania Maryakovna. And now, please, Saida Bulатовна, now we are going to listen to your answering for questions. Answering.
Dear colleagues, professors, thank you for your questions. The first question was of Mr. Velichkov about the hybrid model in future Europe and the prospects of this hybrid model. In this, it is important to mention that there were mentioned 3 scenarios, and in order to answer your question, it is important to say about 2 other scenarios also. For example, in our research, we've mentioned 3 scenarios. The first is integration scenario, then hybridization scenario, and then the fragmentation scenario. The integration scenario first strengthens supranational identity through education, civic participation, and political cooperation within the European member states. The second, the hybridization scenario, also confirms and combines the coexistence and interconnection of multiple identity, national, regional, supranational. And the third scenario, a fragmentation scenario, mostly it confirms the weakening of collective identity due to the growing nationalism, populism, and external geopolitical pressures like contemporary challenges and etc. And here it is seen that the hybridization scenario is the most balanced scenario for the future of the European Union, because it combines the first integration scenario and also the fragmentation scenario, taking into account only the fact that challenges can strengthen the European identity. Yes. Can I continue? Yes. Okay. Second question. Second question of Janar Muratbekovna was concerning the risks that reshape European Union and challenges that reshaped European Union. Here it is important to mention in our research we also studied the situation in Germany after the war, when the post-war period, it has a lot of economic factors, economic circumstances, but mostly this period was very key and important for the development of Germany in the future, because the fall of the Berlin Wall was the symbol of not national values, the rise of national values, but mostly the European values and its awareness to accept these European values at that period. The third question was about hybrid identity for the future and how Europeans perceive this hybrid identity. Here it is very important to mention Eurobarometer surveys and reports, and one of the key conclusions was that younger generation feel more attached to Europe than older generation. And the survey showed that mostly 62% of Europeans, of young Europeans, feel very attached to Europe, according to most benefits that they have. Then the fourth question was of Galina Majitovna concerning the novelty and its contribution to scientific contribution. According to many researchers that we've observed during our research, our key conclusion was that European identity is multidimensional. It is there are a lot of articles, literature, reviews, reports, and treaties, but our research focused on its multidimensional concept and its construct, it has future-oriented perspective through youth education, and its policies connected with young generation. And also, you've mentioned the second question to specify contemporary challenges. What concrete contemporary challenges were observed? The third chapter in our research was mainly focused on on main challenges like Brexit, the rise of nationalism, the rise of Euroscepticism, the diversity challenges, not problems, the diversity challenges, and migration crisis also. The sixth question of Kamila Galimovna was about the hybridization and its future perspectives. Our research mainly focused on this hybridization model, like the most sustainable, as it combines not only political and cultural aspect, but also it is seen the identity as a complex of national, regional, and supranational identity. And it reshapes the European identity itself. And the seventh question was about digital transformation. Mainly, we observed media reports, social media that were transformative agents of European identity, also online political discourse, because nowadays the digital aspect is seen is key and influential on the society because of the high popularity among young generation also. And the last question was of Manarbek Shakirovich was about the evidence about the European experience for Central Asian countries. This question was very similar to my article. We wrote one article, the policy of Central European the European experience for Central Asian countries. And here, one of my conclusions, very interesting, I think, was that there are some values that make for example, European Union united. But here it is very important to mention that there are some values that make them united. And according to Central Asian countries, some researchers say that the religious component can be the uniting factor. But here we have some doubts, I think, concerning Kazakhstan mostly, because some countries like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan have the rise of Islam in their countries, but in Kazakhstan we saw the low level of religion, maybe. Not low, but not so high as in that countries, comparing with that countries. It will be more correct to say it. And here we also came to conclusion that if we use European identity or European experience, mostly it is correct to see it through a language policy. We also observed on our bachelor's degree. It was our thesis paper also. And here we've seen that in Kazakhstan we have model language policy 2+1. That we've studied at schools mostly. Like you should study 2 languages, Kazakh, Russian, and 1 foreign language, mostly it is English. In most schools, I think. At most schools, yes. Not all, but most schools. But this language policy was that formed language policy in Kazakhstan was also according to European experience. Yes. I think all questions I've mentioned. Yes. Sorry. Yes, Mr. Shabal, thank you for your question. Yes, the last question was concerning the mobilization and how these, not mobilization, like these factors can be like mobilizing factors for European cohesion. And what factors can be. Here it is important to mention that in the second chapter, we also mentioned this historical evolution of European identity, when each stage, like classical antiquity, gave European Union the law system, for example, and each stage gave European Union as some cultural aspect. But here, nowadays, we see the European motto like united in diversity. Mostly, it is accepted that this motto, united in diversity, is about European identity can make European society more cohesive. But here we also seen that some destabilizing factors like migration also can reshape the Europeanness. We've tried to, we've confirmed that these destabilizing factors are not do not destroy European identity, but it makes it more adaptive to all challenges. Yes.
Okay. Is it enough? Enough. Thank you, Saida. And now, in turn, now we're going to listen to our reviewers. So the first reviewer is Серикбаева Айжан Тимирбулатовна. Отзывы или рецензии на диссертационную, да, диссертационную работу.
Dear members of Dissertation Council, dear colleagues, I would like to present the review on dissertation work. The dissertation devoted to the study of European identity makes a substantial contribution to contemporary international relations research. The author analyzes the transformation of European identity in the context of political, social, cultural, and digital changes within the European Union. The work systematizes major theoretical approaches and offers an original interpretation of future identity development. The dissertation demonstrates a high level of academic independence. The PhD candidate successfully integrates constructivist and post-functionalist approaches and develops an original analytical perspective on European identity under conditions of globalization, crises, and digitalization. The relevance of the dissertation is convincingly justified. The author emphasizes that identity formation is essential for strengthening solidarity among EU member states and ensuring the legitimacy of European institutions. The study also highlights the importance of balancing cultural diversity with political unity and responding to contemporary global challenges. The dissertation structure is coherent and logically organized, and I think it's no need to describe again the content of each chapter. Principle of scientific novelty. The dissertation contains significant elements of scientific novelty. The author proposes an original understanding of European identity as a dynamic and hybrid phenomenon shaped by institutional, cultural, educational, and digital factors. Particular novelty is found in the analysis of contemporary crises, not only as threats, but also as catalysts for the transformation and adaptation of European identity. Another innovative contribution is the concept of digital European citizenship, emphasizing the growing importance of digital communication and youth participation in identity formation. The dissertation also introduces scenario-based models of identity development, including integration, fragmentation, and hybridization scenarios. Overall, the novelty of the research may be assessed at approximately 75%. The conclusions of the dissertation are well substantiated and supported by a broad range of theoretical sources, official EU documents, empirical materials, and contemporary academic studies. The interdisciplinary approach and combination of theoretical, historical, and policy analysis methods strengthen the validity of the findings. The dissertation demonstrates a clear logical connection between research objectives, analytical framework, and final conclusions. All provisions submitted for defense are logically grounded, scientifically significant, and supported by the conducted analysis. Preposition first interprets European identity as a multidimensional phenomenon combining national, regional, and supranational levels. These provisions is proven, not trivial, partially new, as it is based on existing methodological and theoretical approaches, and this provision has broad level of application. So The second provisions analyzes the historical evolution of European identity and the concept of a united Europe. The third examines migration, nationalism, Euroscepticism, and Brexit as factors transforming European identity. The fourth provision introduces the concept of digital European citizenship and highlights the role of YAS in digital communication. The last one proposes scenario-based approaches to future identity development, including integration, fragmentation, and hybridization. And except the first provision, they all possess scientific novelty, broad applicability, and are sufficiently proven with the dissertation research. The methodology of the dissertation is well justified and consistent with the research objectives. The author applies an interdisciplinary approach combining political science, sociology, and cultural studies. The dissertation employs contemporary qualitative research methods, including comparative, discourse, and scenario analysis, as well as the study of EU documents, Eurobarometer, Eurostat, and the empirical data sources. The use of digital databases and statistical materials confirms the reliability of the research. The bibliography includes 194 sources, including publication, indexed and scopus, and which ensures a strong theoretical and empirical foundation. The dissertation has both theoretical and practical significance. The study contributes to academic discussions on European identity and develops a comprehensive conceptual framework integrating political, sociological, and cultural dimensions. The work is written at a high academic level. The author demonstrates a strong proficiency in scholarly writing, logical organization of arguments, and precise formulation of conclusion. At the same time, as with any serious academic work, several comments and recommendations can be made. First, the dissertation structure appears somewhat overly detailed. The large number of paragraphs, there are 16 paragraphs in dissertation work, and subsection occasionally weakens the structural focus of the propositions submitted for defense. And the second, although the scenario analysis is one of the strongest part of dissertation, it could benefit from greater specificity regarding the mechanism and indicator for implementing and evaluating each proposed scenario. Additional empirical case studies or quantitative indicators could be further strengthen the practical applicability of the proposed models. However, these comments do not diminish the overall value, scientific value, and quality of the dissertation. On the contrary, they should be viewed as a constructive recommendation for further development of these promising research directions. And as a conclusion, the dissertation work of Aspandияр, Саиды, Булатовны on the topic European identity, the further developments, fully complies with the requirements of the rules for the award of degree, and the author of this dissertation deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in educational program D03-102, International Relations of Eurasian National, Gumilev Eurasian National University. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ayjan Timur Bulatovna. And now Gulnara Sirikpayevna Baykushikova is the second reviewer of the dissertations of this topic.
Thank you, dear Chair of Council and members of Council. Allow me to present the official review to the dissertation prepared by Aspandияр Саиды Булатовна, European Identities, a Future Development. This dissertation is completed in accordance with the concept for the development of higher education and science in the Republic of Kazakhstan. The topic of the dissertation is included in the scientific direction of the Faculty of International Relations of Gumilev Eurasian National University, Contemporary Problems of International Relations. Scientific significance. The dissertation makes a significant contribution to the development of contemporary international relations theory and European studies. The author goes beyond a purely descriptive analysis and offers a systematic interpretation of European identity as a multidimensional and dynamic phenomenon. The particular value of the work lies in the integration of political science, sociological and cultural approaches, the systematization of existing theories of identity, and the attempt to conceptually rethinking European identity in the context of crisis and global transformation. Principle of independence. The level of the author's independence is assessed as high. This is confirmed, first of all, by the thorough and comprehensive use of sources, including both theoretical and empirical materials. The author independently developed and justified the methodological framework of the study, which shows a clear understanding of the research problem and the ability to choose appropriate methods of analysis. The structure of the dissertation is logical and consistent, moving from theoretical foundation to the analysis of practical aspect and the formulation of conclusions and forecasts. The research objects and tasks are addressed step by step without logical gaps, which also indicated the independent nature of the work. Principle of internal consistency, justifying of the dissertation's relevance justified. The content of dissertation fully reflects its topic. All chapters are logical structure and consistently aimed at revealing the phenomenon of European identity. The aim and objects set in the study fully correspond to the topic of the dissertation and its original research design. All sections and provisions of the dissertation are logically interconnected and form a coherent research structure. The study included a critical analysis. The new solution proposed by the author are well argued and justified based on a critical evolution of existing approaches. The author carefully compares her proposals with established solutions, identifying the strengths and weaknesses. This comparative analysis allows for an objective assessment of the novelty and effectiveness of the proposed methods, as well as their potential for practical application. Principle of scientific novelty. The results and main provisions are partly new, with approximately 75 considered new. This is because the author offers contemporary approaches to the analysis of European identity and its transformation. In particular, an important contribution is the interpretation of crisis not only as sources of problem, but also as factors that contributed to the development and change of identity. The conclusion of the thesis are partly new, 75% are new. The technical, technological, economic, or managerial solution are partly new, 75% are new. The main conclusion of the dissertation are based on solid scientific evidence and on empirical data collected during the research process, including observations, surveys, interviews, and other methods of data collection. main proposition for defense. First proposition has been proven, yes, it is trivial, no, it's new, yes, level of application broad has been proven in the article, yes. Particular attention is paid to the formation of transnational and hybrid identity in which individual, particularly migrants, maintain multiple forms of belonging while simultaneously participating in the social-political life of both their countries of origin and European society. Second proposition, proven. Is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. Level of application broad, and it's proven in the article, yes. The author consistently analyzes the stage of European integration, demonstrating the influence on the formation of a supranational identity. Third proposition, proven. Is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. And level of application broad, it's proven in article, yes. The main conclusion of the study is the interpretation of crisis as mechanisms for the development and adaptation of European identity to new socio-political realities. Fourth proposition, proven. And is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. It's proven in the article, yes. The proposition that the European Union's educational and mobility programs contribute to the formation of a European identity among young people is proven and substantiated in the dissertation. The author analyzes the impact of initiatives such as Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps on the development of intercultural interaction, academic mobility, and civic engagement. Fifth proposition, proven. Is it trivial? No. Is it new? Yes. And is it proven in the article? Yes. Principle of reliability. The choice of methodology is justified and described in detail. In the results of the dissertation were obtained using modern research methods and techniques for data processing and interpretation. Principle of practical value. The dissertation has theoretical significance, which lies in the systemic study of the prospects and vectors of transformation of European identity in the context of future challenges of European Union development. Aspandияр Саида Булатовna's dissertation has practical significance, which lies in the development of specific recommendation for educational institution and civil society organization aimed at strengthening European unity and democratic participating. The proposal are acceptable. Some can be classified as new, some as partly new, 75% are new. This is because the author relies on existing approaches while adapting them to current challenges, including digitalization and the transformation of identity. Quality of writing and formatting. The work is written in high quality scientific style. The work meets the basic requirement of academic writing, and the above comments are advisory in nature. Comments on a dissertation. Despite the overall high scientific value and coherence of the study, the dissertation contains a number of issues that require clarification and future development. First, insufficient attention is given to external factors. The research mainly focused on internal process within the European Union, while the influence of external environment, including other states and global politics, is addressed only superficially. Also, it plays an important role in the current context. Second, some conclusions are too general. A number of findings are formulated in a broad and abstract way. For example, statements about the flexibility or adaptability of identity are not always supported by specific examples or empirical evidence. Third, the practical recommendations like sufficient specificity. They are presented in a general forms and do not include clear mechanism for implementation, which reduce their practical applicability. However, all comments for recommendations. Decision of the official review. Aspandияр Саида Булатовna's dissertation entitled European Identity, the Future Development fully complies with the requirement of the rules of the awarding of degrees, and the author deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the educational program International Relations at Gumilev Eurasian National University. Thank you.
Thank you. Gulnara Sirikbayevna, Saida, ready to answer to reviewers.
Dear official reviewers, thank you for your comments and constructive feedback. First, let's start from the first reviewer, Jantimir Bulatovna, concerning the 16 paragraphs and 12 research objectives. First, it is important to say here that these 12 research objectives are mostly form and develop the key directions of the research, when the subchapters and paragraphs mostly show the internal structure of the research. For example, from my side, some topics requires more particular attention. That's why we've made a detailed observation of these topics. The second comment was concerning the substance of the hybrid model. Here it is important to mention that we've observed the hybrid model according to its levels, like national, regional, supranational levels, which help to observe the hybrid model from different perspectives and its influence on different levels and its members on that level. The third comment was concerning the scenario block and its most general, some general findings and criteria for scenarios. Here it's important to mention that while we've observed the scenario, while we've made the scenario development, we also made identity markers here. For example, on each scenario, we used four identity markers, where was language, culture, education, and the last was its implementation in the society. The second reviewer was Gulnar Sirikbayevna concerning insufficient attention to external threats. Here we've tried to observe the European Union from the influence of external factors, but inside European Union. Like European enlargement, it is like external threat for the European Union, but it is not external in the traditional sense. But here it is important to mention that some external threats we've also mentioned. For example, the pandemic COVID-19 was also seen as external factor, but not in the connection with other states. Here we accept your comment. The second question was concerning flexibility and adaptability. There are some general constatation facts. Here we have we've tried to use case studies for the implementation of these phenomena. For example, we've tried to use 3 comparative analyses with countries, with comparative analyses based on 3 countries. The third comment was concerning clear mechanisms of its implementation. Here we've seen our dissertation paper, like it has its scientific novelty, its practical and theoretical implementation. And if we say about practical implementation, we've seen it useful for European Union policies and internal documents for forming these policies. Like it is external view of these identity issues inside the European Union. Thank you for your comments. It is also very useful because after observing it, I can make my research deeper. For example, after your comments, I thought about its enlarging by AI, for example, influence, also by digitalization and making it more precise in its facts. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And now the next our step is the open common discussion concerning this theme about identity of the European Union. Так, пожалуйста, теперь общая такая дискуссия. Я попрошу всех членов диссертационного совета принять участие в обсуждении данной темы, ваши предложения, ваши комментарии по данной диссертационной работе и в целом по данной теме. Так, желающие принять участие. Возможно, профессор Камен-Величков, вы начнете наше общее обсуждение темы и диссертации Саиды Аспандияр.
Indeed, it will be a pleasure to begin this discussion, which is, of course, over a topic endless in scope and in depth. From this perspective, the attempt by Saida to approach this topic is indeed very bold, very daring, which is the reason why she explains that the future of European identity depends on the youth, believing that the young generation will be the one to actually clarify the prospects of the phenomenon. and she illustrates that through her dissertation. I like the text for a number of reasons, for its very scrupulously done preparatory work and the study of so fundamental theoretical predispositions for the analysis itself, which constitute in itself a very useful, very, very useful result of the work. I'm sorry. For this reason, I wanted to single out the rehabilitation of constructivism. In recent time, constructivism was subjected to very, very deep doubts, if not more, by the scholars of international relations, scholars of social science. And I really appreciate the fact that constructivism is back and works in this dissertation, because it has, of course, its tremendous role. Also, the epistemological approach one could find on, for example, on the analysis of the 1973 Declaration of European identity of the officials of the European Union itself. The analysis of this document is very important, not only chronologically and in terms of its undoubtedly historical role and contribution, but also with the fact that in this declaration, the European Union defines itself by distinguishing itself from its environment. So this is something which brings me to the conversation, back to the conversation several minutes ago, namely about the external factor. From this perspective, the analysis of where European identity issues lie from a Kazakh perspective are extremely important and valuable for a number of reasons, not least because of Kazakhstan's own contribution to define what it is, the path to Europe, which is what Kazakhstan could actually benefit from, the large menu of European values examined in this dissertation. When it comes further to the historical aspects and even more to the present day's factors, if I may say, with respect to the European identity formulation, I here tend to be a little bit more careful and doubtful, because Saida does not spare the Eurosceptics. She actually obviously doesn't like them, and she uses all her arguments. But in fact, the Eurosceptics are not against European identity and most of them are simply calling for a different revision of various substantial and fundamental basics, mostly, and I underline, of the European Union, not of the European identity in its totality. From this angle, I wanted to come back to this main achievement of this dissertation, which, of course, has to do with the description of the multidimensional and dynamic nature of the European identity. And here, without any doubt, Saida has a point. The problem with this very successful conclusion that she arrives at is that indeed this multidimensional form and its dynamic evolution does not speak out actually as to what the future has in store for us. In other words, yes, there is this more optimistic expectations, which she calls integration, in European integration. There is, however, much to be examined further as to define the other view, the view from afar, the view from the perspective of the scholar young scholar who, say, about several years later, or even 10 years later, she might wish to revision her work or continue her efforts in the examination of this topic, in which I wish her success, of course. So these are the thoughts that I wanted to share with respect to her dissertation. And one last element, I don't know whether she likes songs, but there is one European identity illustration called Eurovision. Suddenly, last night, it appeared that Europe, that's Bulgaria. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, others. Так, еще. Yes, okay. Yes, Professor Chaval, Pierre Chaval.
Well, the temptation for a European, which I'm not going to yield to, is to extrapolate from one regional identity in Europe to another one in Central Asia. But of course, as a European, I'm more interested in the identity that you are developing here than the identity we are developing in Europe, because I'm a strong believer in comparative studies. But 3 points. There was a mention of the external dimension, of the external factors and so on. This points to me, I think, to the contextual analysis. We haven't mentioned the contextual analysis yet. And there is a way in which, I wrote about this some time ago, the steps in the construction of the European community and union echo world events or echo events outside the European sphere, not actors outside, but events outside of the European sphere. Every enlargement corresponds to a major moment in world history at the same time. We don't have time to go through all the steps, but I could if you wanted to. And when I did that, I looked for what was the external world historical development that accompanied or contextualized each enlargement. I came to a second idea, that we talk about integration, but what is it exactly that we are integrating? I think the history of the European construction is the integration of fears. Each enlargement is also, to some extent, the moment when we associated or took in countries which, for whatever reason, had represented a fear for Europe, the fear of war, the fear of fascism, the fear of a number of threats, and indeed the fear of fragmentation. So in that sense, Europe can never be complete so long as if it stops integrating fears in that sense. And my third a point would be the concept of mistakes. Mistakes is a strong word, but I mean missed chances. And I think Europe, as every region in the world, has on occasion missed chances to further its own logical, constructive imperative. One such mistake, I think, was 1981 when we integrated Greece without Turkey. Was at the time the Turkish integration was very much part of the possible enlargements. And the same concept of a mistake we could suggest to keep in mind when we look at the relations between Europe and the Balkans in general, or Europe and the Caucasus in general, or Europe and North Africa in general, or Europe and the Middle East in general. So that brings me to the last point. I'm sorry, it's a bit long, but when we talk about integration or association or membership, these are words which convey a degree of rigidity. And the word I use for your region, I could also use it for Europe, is the word affiliation. The capacity to affiliate countries or nations one after the other, affiliating means bring them into a political, cultural, or identity construction, irrespective of the legal or diplomatic status of those nations. So my field of research is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, for which you have categories of members, observers, dialogue partners, and guests, and so on. But they are all affiliates. And if we look at the geopolitical dynamic of affiliation, we cannot but be struck by the pace of things, which is extremely rapid in your region, and more, I think, in the case of Europe. In the case of the Shanghai Cooperation Construction, we've gone from 6 to 28 affiliates between 2001 and 2025, which is just a quarter of a century. So all these ideas are motivated by your dissertation presentation, and I thank you very much for it. I think there are, beyond today, there is a life after today, and that life will be very rich with research initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, профессор Пьер Шабаль. Так, теперь, пожалуйста, еще свои мнения. Жанар Муратбековна.
Since my research area sphere, European Union issues, integration policy, soft power, I really interested in research and studies by our young students, doctoral students. Then I believe that our young scholars should be more focused on European Union matters because they should develop our own native school, Kazakhstani School of European Studies. And in this context that today I think their dissertation prepared by Saida has maybe deep scientific and symbolic meaning. That's why I strongly support her dissertation and want Saida to continue her study of such relevant matter on European integration, European contemporary history. Thank you, Saida.
Спасибо большое. Гульнара Мажитовна.
Some words about the dissertation of Saida. I think that today we have so interesting no discussion, but interesting analysis of a very not only deep, not only interesting, but very controversial problem of international relations. And I think that Saida, all conclusions of this dissertation have very deep, very objective, analytical, theoretical, and methodological base. It's very considerable for scientific work. And the next strong aspects of this dissertation, it is a very, very delicate, very deep attention to works of authors, not only of native authors, but and very deep analysis of authors of Western, Eastern countries. Why I mention these aspects? Because the delicate and deep analysis of all authors on this problem, it's very considerable and a very important part of scientific research. Saida, I think that, that the dissertation of Saida meets all requirements for scientific work, and I support this dissertation because we have so much time. We analyze this dissertation in our department, and I had the possibility to read some variants of this dissertation. And Saida has I think that Saida is a very talented researcher. And as a professor of university, and as my colleagues, I think that the materials and conclusions of your dissertation may be useful for our educational process, not only for students, for master students, for doctoral students. And not only it is my request, but I think that this dissertation maybe as a base for your monograph in future. Thank you.
Дарважитовна, хорошо. Пожалуйста, желает ли выступить Манарбек Шакирович, Камила Галимовна?
Хотелось бы отметить, что исследование выполнено на очень хорошей научной и теоретической основе, логически структурировано. Главное достоинство – это грамотное использование методов исследований, то, что данные исследования носят междисциплинарный характер, то есть феномен европейской идентичности рассматривается как с точки зрения политологии, так и социологии, культурологии. Докторант также в теориях интеграции рассматривает этот феномен. И также то, что докторант особое внимание уделил анализу современных кризисов как механизма трансформации европейской идентичности. Поэтому, безусловно, Саида Булатовна заслуживает искомой степени доктора философии PhD.
Хорошо, спасибо. Так. Ну, я вот тоже послушала внимательно, хотела бы вот дополнить, как бы такой вопрос у меня вот возник, Саида. Мы вот говорим про европейскую идентичность, да, European Union, но мы знаем, что есть еще и Соединенные Штаты Америки, в котором также остро стоит вопрос идентичности граждан Соединенных Штатов Америки. Как вы считаете, может ли вот этот вопрос, касающийся идентичности, перерасти, как, допустим, Соединенные Штаты Европы, USE? Вот, ну, сейчас вот мы как бы вот это обсуждаем, поскольку вы говорите, идет процесс digitalization, да, то есть идет цифровизация. Очень активно в этом процессе принимает участие молодое поколение. Очень, можно сказать, вот процессы такого гомогенизации, да, гомогенизation, то есть такого одинакового идут процессы глобализации. Может быть, действительно, когда-нибудь через несколько лет будет такие, как Соединенные Штаты Европы, по примеру Соединенных Штатов Америки. Вот. И второе моя вот такая вот идея, когда вот как бы отклик на эту диссертацию, возможно ли еще одно расширение Европейского Союза, поскольку мы всегда говорим, что Европейский Союз – это образец интеграции, несколько расширений было. И как вы считаете, вы говорите future developments, есть ли такой future developments as the new enlargement of the European Union? Вот. Ну, еще, может быть, мы видим еще Манарбек Шакирович желает также своим мнением поделиться по данной теме, поскольку вы затронули Центральную Азию, значит, вы заинтересовались темой.
Спасибо большое. Действительно, тема очень такая живая, поскольку, не зная, условно говоря, ну, в целом, мы не можем предугадать. Это британцы, французы, словаки, чехи, поляки и так далее. Мы их говорим европейцы, ну, как американцы и так далее. В этом плане, конечно, хотел бы отметить, что здесь и в целом, если вот так сводить, иногда вопросы поднимаются и к нам, ну, проецируем. Мы казахи, казахстанцы или евразийцы. Почему? Потому что очень часто мне приходится сталкиваться на различных переговорных площадках, когда мы зачастую боимся сказать казахи. И это очень напрягает с точки зрения того, что позиционировать как и говорить, прописывая в двухсторонних соглашениях казахстанская сторона, не казахская сторона. Вот здесь вот есть вот эти чувствительные для нас темы, может быть, это издержки того, что, к большому сожалению, до 90-го года у нас всего было титульной нации там более 30%. И это после 90-х годов нам удалось немного это все поменять, ситуацию, и довести сейчас титульную нацию до 72%. Вот. И во многом это переосмысление нашего вообще, как бы, и такое же отношение, допустим, я вижу, если у узбеков как-то нормально это, они всегда говорят узбекская сторона. Никогда не сомневаются в том, чтобы сказать узбекистанская, узбекская, кыргызская сторона. Наши немного, ну, может быть, история, а может быть, большая граница, 7,5 тысяч километров, которая не позволяет нам иногда вот просто о себе вот так, может быть, заявить. Поэтому в этом плане, когда мы говорим за европейскую идентичность, мы все равно понимаем, что за каждым этим, да, когда европейцами есть так называемые французы, британцы. Их много, и они объединяются, да, в рамках своего вот европейской идентичности. Да, мы иногда начинаем на себя перенимать европейская культура, европейская, не знаю, дипломатия и так далее, и так далее. Там вопросов много, но, опять же, культура не только, у каждой народности своя культура. Внутри Европейского Союза есть очень большие трения. Мы видим, наблюдаем за этим в период такой большой гипертурбулентности. Каждая нация пытается себя как бы, ну, во многом защитить. Я думаю, что, Саида Булатовна, то, что вы сегодня защищаете по этой теме, оно довольно-таки очень интересно с точки зрения чего. Мы для себя должны понимать, насколько вот и мои вопросы к вашей тематике, почему именно, вот как мы можем там, проецировать это на Центральной Азии, какие применимы вот именно в странах Центральной Азии, как Казахстан может использовать этот опыт Европейского Союза, формирование собственной гражданской идентичности. Поэтому очень большое спасибо за прекрасные и ответы ваши, достаточно очень концептуально вы ко всему подошли. Просто к тому, что у меня тема моей диссертации была именно связана с национальной идентичностью, поэтому эта тема настолько близка для меня, она даже где-то перекликается. Поэтому спасибо вам большое. Большое вам спасибо за приглашение. Вот.
Да, мы читали вашу работу.
Да, спасибо большое.
Монографию.
Хорошо.
Манарбек Абазевич затронул очень такую чувствительную тему. Я хотела поделиться вот своим наблюдением. Я по историческим вот источникам, вообще книгам заметила, что даже в советское время было больше возможности писать, говорить казахское. Да? Вот сейчас везде убирают слово казахское, больше, но не больше, а в основном идет казахстанское. Поэтому тоже вопрос, да, вот вызывает много таких, не то что сомнений, а вот раздумий. И второй момент, естественно, здесь есть такой вот вопрос или большая проблема, как формирование центральноазиатской идентичности, да, раз мы говорим об интеграции, о сотрудничестве Центральной Азии. То есть пока мы себя не будем ощущать или представлять себя как одно сообщество, у нас, наверное, не будет возможности дальше идти по пути кооперации, интеграции и так далее. Поэтому, да, вопрос очень серьезный. Спасибо, Саиде, за концептуализацию этой проблемы, которая имеет такую проекцию и на нашу страну, и на наш регион. Думаю, что будут продолжения в будущем, да? Будем продолжать данную тематику. Спасибо всем.
Можно закончить на этом наше общее обсуждение. Саида, теперь вам слово, как бы заключительно по нашей дискуссии открытой.
Dear Chairperson, respected members of the Dissertation Council, colleagues, guests, thank you for your comments, respectful feedback. All comments I will try to use for improving my research. This topic is really interesting for me. Also concerning your question, Ardak Malsovna, concerning the United States of Europe, there are some researchers that discussed this topic, and there are some debates concerning this topic. But mostly, I refer to this statement like it is an idea in theory, theoretical idea mostly, because currently the European states mostly try to keep their national sovereignty. Yes, they have their supranational obligations, some requirements that they should follow, but mostly every member state try to keep their national sovereignty. And here we see that European Union is a unique model of supranational structure with keeping their national sovereignty.
Is it possible the next enlargement of the European Union, in your opinion? Yes, the next step of enlargement.
I thought about it also, but according to the current challenges, I think, yes, it is possible scenario, but from my perspective, not in the nearest future. Yes.
Thank you for your answers. И теперь мы переходим к следующему нашему этапу. Our next phase is what? The secret voting in online regime. Так, голосование.
Уважаемый профессор Камин, здравствуйте. Почитайте, пожалуйста, мое сообщение. По WhatsApp отправили сообщение.
Да, спасибо. Сейчас я отвечаю.
Так, для оглашения результатов тайного голосования слово предоставляется ученому секретарю Алиевой Сауле Хаменовне.
Спасибо. Так, проведение защиты. Диссертация на соискание степени доктора философии PhD Аспандияр Саиды Булатовны. Зарегистрировано 9 человек. Процедуры голосования. Проголосовали 9 человек. 100% 9 человек проголосовали за предложение присудить степень доктора философии PhD или доктора по профилю 9 человек. Итак, проголосовали за присудить, в общем...
Хорошо. Таким образом, результаты голосования вы увидели, они утверждены, да?
Да.
Так, Аспандияр Саида Булатовна, вы здесь? Так, от имени диссертационного совета по направлению подготовки кадров 8D031 социальные науки, 8D03102 международные отношения, 6D020200 международные отношения Евразийского национального университета имени Гумилева. Поздравляю вас с успешной защитой диссертации и желаю вам здоровья и дальнейших творческих успехов. Так, далее переходим к обсуждению проекта. Вы можете присесть. Теперь переходим к обсуждению проекта заключения по представленной диссертационной работе и квалификационных признаков. Перед нами лежит заключение. Вы можете ознакомиться. Да. Согласитесь ли вы, чтобы мы взяли за основу данный проект заключения, да? Проголосуем за проект, за основу взять. Хорошо. И теперь переходим к следующей нашей стадии. Это результаты, квалификационные результаты. Итак, заключение диссертационного совета. Первое, значит, 8.1. Так, 8.1.1. Теоретические положения, совокупность которых квалифицируют как новое крупное достижение в развитии соответствующего научного направления или решение научной проблемы, имеющей важность социально-культурную. Может быть, 8.1.2? Это прям крупное такое... Ну, мне кажется, 1.2 все-таки это, да, социально-культурное, экономическое, политическое значение.
Академик.
8.1.2.
Здесь ключевое слово, наверное, в развитии соответствующего научного направления. Поэтому по данной стадии.
Ну, а здесь тоже важно социально-культурное, экономико-политическое значение. Да? Да, похоже. Давайте 8.2. 1, 2, 3. Результаты являются новыми, отдельные результаты не новы, значительная часть результатов не нова. 1. Все результаты новые.
8.2.1?
Ну хорошо, 8.2.1. Все результаты. Может быть, отдельные результаты не новы, да, более осторожные. Да, более такое осторожное решение, некоторые результаты. Писали уже, да? Хорошо. Теперь. Хорошо. Хорошо. Так, следующий пункт 8.3. Ценность. Высокая, удовлетворительная, неудовлетворительная. Высокая, да? Ценность высокая. Так, следующее 8.4. Связь темы с плановыми исследованиями. 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. Вот в программу фундаментальных исследований, отраслевую программу. Не против, да? 8.4.2.
Да. В соответствии с научными изысканиями.
и она очень важна для учебного процесса специальности.
Планы научных организаций высших учебных заведений, да? Значит, 4.2. Хорошо. 8.5. Уровень внедрения. Международный уровень, межотраслевой, в масштабах отрасли, в рамках организации требует расширения. Вот это вот последние 5 и 6 в масштабах отрасли, да? Все. Ну и вот здесь, по-моему, тоже вот как-то вот говорили, что была небольшая техническая ошибка, требует расширенного использования, не требует расширенного использования. Это вообще должен быть 9-й пункт, по идее. Да, должен быть. Потому что я помню, что говорили здесь, просто она как-то автоматически переходит, а здесь 9. Требует расширенного использования, да?
Это пойдет потом отдельный пункт?
Да, отдельно.
Это вообще отдельный пункт. Да? Хорошо. Все утвердили, да?
А вот я хотела уточнить. Так, 8.2.2, да?
Да. Да. Все. Итак, тогда предлагаю утвердить заключение с этими квалификационными признаками. Еще раз проголосуем. Все. Так. Диссертационный совет утверждает следующее решение. Диссертация на соискание доктора философии PhD по образовательной программе 8D03-102 «Международные отношения» Аспандияр Саиды Булатовны на тему European Identity, the Future Developments отвечает предъявляемым требованиям правил присуждения степеней. Автору диссертации Аспандияр Саиде Булатовне присудить степень доктора философии PhD по образовательной программе 8D03-102 «Международные отношения». Кто за, прошу голосовать, но я думаю, в общем-то, голосовали в онлайне. Еще раз проголосуем. Уважаемые коллеги, благодарю вас. Заключение принято. И последнее заключительное слово предоставляется диссертанту. Пожалуйста, Аспандияр Саида Булатовна.
Уважаемый председатель, член диссертационного совета, официальные рецензенты, гости, родители, спасибо вам большое за время, за ваши комментарии, за очень продуктивную дискуссию. Я очень рада. В первую очередь я бы хотела поблагодарить своего научного руководителя Санию Моряковну и своего зарубежного консультанта Антонио Алонсо Маркоса за их комментарии, за веру в меня. Вот. Я очень благодарна. Также я бы хотела отдельно поблагодарить кафедру международных отношений Евразийского национального университета за поддержку, за помощь. Отдельная благодарность рецензентам и членам диссертационного совета за ваш вклад, в такой действительно достаточно загруженные дни уделить время, прочитать работу и дать свои комментарии. Это очень ценно, и я за это безумно благодарна. Также спасибо большое моей семье. Вот. Я очень рада. Это все благодаря вашей поддержке, вашей вере. Всем спасибо.
Так, имеются ли какие-нибудь замечания в целом по ведению, по защите? Да, я также всех благодарю профессора Софийского университета Камену Величкову. Он всегда поддерживает наш диссертационный совет и наших молодых профессоров, можно так уже сказать, всегда поддерживает. Вам желаю всего хорошего, здоровья вам, успехов в вашем научном труде. Также благодарю всех сегодня присутствующих, зарубежного профессора, который сегодня также уделил внимание, профессору из Франции, да, Пьеру Шавалю. Желаю здоровья, сотрудничества нашего, дальнейшего сотрудничества. Сания Моряковна, вы переведете. И также всем всего хорошего, все, кто приехали сегодня к нам, посетили, приняли участие в нашей работе диссертационного совета. На этом заседание диссертационного совета по защите диссертации Аспандияр Саида Булатовны считается закрытым.